Here's the Canon R7, which I just bought, and the Panasonic GH6. In this video, I was curious if I could use the same lens, what that would look like on each of these cameras shooting at comparable settings. With the R7, I shot at the highest quality you can shoot at, which is the 4K, or it's the downsampled 7K to 4K, the fine IPB mode, using the log 3. With the GH6, this shoots 5K, and so it's more than the R7. So what I did was I shot a little bit lower. I used the 4K, but Cinema 4K, and I also shot Vlog. So I was shooting, and it's 422, and this is 422. So I was using those settings with these two cameras, and I used the Sigma EF 18 to 35, which is a very popular lens that a lot of people use. It's very affordable, f1.8 all the way through the zoom range. And what I have here is a Metabone speed booster. This is the XL.64 times. And I have the Freewell. This is a variable ND filter. This is the 2 to 5 stop, and it has a mist built in. So I shot with this setup, with this lens, and when I put this on the GH6, it was on there like that. And then when I used the R7, I took out the Metabone speed booster, obviously, and I just used the normal, the standard EF to RF Canon adapter, and I swapped it on there. But I kept the Freewell variable ND filter on the entire time, and I just tried to match it as best as possible when I shot with these two cameras. So the footage you're going to see, I'm going to show one after the other, and I'll have a little text to indicate which one is which. I shot log on both of them, so I'll throw on the official Panasonic Vlog LUT on the footage, and I'll throw on the official Canon a LUT on the log footage for here. So you'll just see it. I'll try to color correct it a little bit, but I'm not going to try to match them. I'm just going to see what they look like natively and see if you can see the difference. My observations, just when I was looking at it, when I was recording some of these clips, I noticed that even though this is a Sigma lens, it's not Canon, and it's EF, not RF, I found that the focus, I left these on autofocus, the autofocus was great. I had no problems with the autofocus with the R7. When I was framing these wide landscape shots, there was no, that I noticed, there was no hunting of the autofocus, and it was just really smooth. It worked perfectly. But then when I swapped over to the GH6, Panasonic just is notorious, does not have good autofocus. So I left it on autofocus just so that you can see it does shift the autofocus, even though I set it on a landscape, and it was a problem. And normally when I use the GH6, I use it for interviews, and when I'm doing sit-down interviews, I turn off the autofocus because the autofocus just is not good on any of the Panasonic cameras that I've used so far. When it comes to low light, even though this is a Micro Four Thirds and this is a APS-C sensor, the low light isn't that much of a difference. I don't see the difference in really even in dynamic range. So you would think that the bigger sensor would have better dynamic range and would be better in low light. Well, the R5 is, and the R5C is, the full frame versions, but the R7 compared to the GH6, it's very similar in my opinion of my tests so far. So here is now the footage shot with these two cameras back to back using the exact same lens with this Metabone speed booster for the Panasonic and with the regular EF to RF standard adapter for the R7.